Hello everyone and welcome back. Welcome to chapter 9 of the course. Chapter 9 will be very brief. It's just going to be two very short tutorials introducing you to date and time in JavaScript. So that's what this tutorial is about. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to use the new keyword and we're going to use a constructor to create a date. So a constructor is basically something we can use in JavaScript to construct something. You'll learn a lot more about constructors when you start looking at object-oriented programming in more detail. So that's a topic I encourage you to look at. I'm not going to include it in this course, JavaScript for Beginners. We're going to do date and time, then look at asynchronous JavaScript, and then the course will be over, but definitely worth looking at as a topic. So what we're going to do is, we're going to say let date be equal to, and we're going to use the constructor to create a new date. And all we need to do is just say new, the keyword, and we have date, and it has parentheses, okay? So what we're doing is we are creating a new date, okay? So date is an inbuilt constructor in JavaScript. So let's actually type this out. Well, what I can do firstly is just say let date. So we're just calling our variable date, and we're assigning that the value of new date, okay? And date, you see here, it is a constructor. So we invoke that with our parentheses, and JavaScript is going to create a date for us. Now, if I save and refresh, nothing is going to happen because I haven't logged date out to the console. So if I just say console.log, so I'm going to log out our date variable. And now if I save and refresh, we see here, we get the current date and time that I'm recording the video on. So I'm just traveling North America at the moment. I'm near Toronto and New York. That's why we're seeing this very long date there. So you're seeing here, it's Thursday. It's the 11th of January 2024. Really funny, I started recording this course in 2023. So here we are in the future. This will be the past by the time you watch this video. So hello from the past. Okay, so what we've basically done is we have used the new keyword in JavaScript to create a new date, and we created the new date by invoking the constructor, and then what we did is we just stored it in the date variable and we logged it out to the console. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's just comma separate here. So I'm just going to write a string. I don't want to escape. Where are my double quotes? Yes, we'll say today's date is, okay. So basically, I've just logged out a string before today's date, and the reason I'm doing that is because the next thing I want to show you is just to prove to you that date is actually, well, I want to show you the data type. So I'm going to say console.log, the data type is, okay, and then what I want to do is, we've seen type of before, where we can check to see what type something is. Is it a string? Is it a Boolean, etc.? So I'm just going to say type of date to show you what we get. So if we save and refresh, we see here that the data type is an object. Okay, awesome. So basically, you can use JavaScript to create a date object. That's what we did. So when you invoke date here, what it does is it creates a date object. Sorry, that should be date object, not data object. Although technically it is a type of data, I guess. Anyway, we use the new keyword to invoke the constructor date. What that does is it creates a new date for us of type object, and we stored it in the date variable. So you're saying to yourself, okay, Dara, that's great. We have this very long piece of data here, and you've told me it's an object. What else can we do with it? Well, remember, we know in JavaScript there are inbuilt methods and properties on arrays. And we also know what objects, we cover that in that chapter on objects, also have inbuilt, methods and properties. So what we can do is we can actually access all the different inbuilt methods that we can use. So for example, on date, we could call or invoke get full year. And what that will do is actually get the full year. So why don't we do that? Well, what I'm going to do is just log out console.log, and I'm going to say date, and then I'm going to call or invoke get full year, okay? Now it is an inbuilt method in JavaScript, so I need to invoke it using parentheses. Okay, so let's save and refresh. And we see here I get 2024. Very big year for the world, a lot of elections around the world, so that's exciting. So that is the get full year. Let me just make that a single comment. Yeah, so that's how we can get a year by using the get full year method. So the year, basically you can just use the get full year method. You can also, for example, if you wanted to, get the month. So that's another thing you could do. So if I say console.log, we have our date. Remember, date's just the variable up here. Date is a variable. It's been assigned the value of new date. So we can then say get month, okay? So let's call that with our parentheses, and let's have a look at what we get. And we see here we get 0. So what you'll note is that even though it's January, JavaScript has assigned this a value of 0. So remember, JavaScript is a 0-based language. It starts counting at 1. So when you use the get month method, while the get full year method will essentially, apologies, return the actual year. So for example, in this case, 2024, what get month does is it actually returns a number between 0 and 11. So basically January is 0, February is 1, March is 2, April is 3, etc. So it's a bit counterintuitive, but you just got to remember that JavaScript does start counting at 0. Another thing you can do as well is you can also get the day, for example. So if we were to say day, how you do that is you just call or invoke the inbuilt get day method. Okay, so let's have a look at that. We can say console.log date.get get day. Okay, so remember, it's an inbuilt method. You have to call or invoke it with parentheses. And what do we get here? We get 4. Okay, so it's kind of weird. It actually starts counting for Sunday. So Thursday is actually 4. Okay, Monday is 1, Tuesday is 2, Wednesday is 3, Thursday is 4, Friday is 5, 6 is 7. So sorry, 0. I should have recorded this on a Sunday, but essentially, if I had done it on a Sunday, Sunday would actually be 0. So Monday is 1, Tuesday is 2, Wednesday is 3, Thursday is 4, as we saw, Friday is 5, and Saturday is 6. So basically, get day actually counts between 0 and 6. Okay, so I sometimes find it a bit weird because it actually will return the actual year, but then if you want to get the month, you know, it returns basically a number between 0 and 11, 0 being January, and then if you want to say get day, it will return 0 on a Sunday. I did it on a Thursday, so that's why we got a 4 there. Okay, awesome. So there are other inbuilt methods as well, but key point about this tutorial is that you can call upon the date constructor to construct a new date for you in JavaScript. The date is of type object. You can also then store that in a variable. I just called it date, and we saw here we were able to log out the date, that full long string. We checked to see it was its data type. It is of course an object, and we saw just 3 inbuilt methods we can use that we can call on the date object. We saw get full year, in this case 2024. We saw get month, in this case 0, because it's January, and then get day, and that gave us a 4 because I'm recording this on a Thursday. Okay, awesome. I'll see you in the next tutorial. We'll do a bit more work with date and time. Awesome.